Will Animal Crossing 2026 allow us to time travel? In this video, I'll go over what Nintendo has been doing right now to control how we play games, as well as what they've done in the past to at least know when we are time traveling. If you guys don't know what time traveling is, it's basically the act of changing your system's date and time so that you can progress the game without actually having to live a day in the real life. This basically just makes the game think that you move forward a day when in reality, you haven't. And a lot of people like doing this because it comes with some significant positive effects. This is from Chibi Snorlax, GitHub.io, where he kind of summarizes everything when it comes to time travel. Most positive effects is all stocks in every shop will refresh. Red's art will be delivered if you purchased one. Fossils will respawn. NPC visitor shops and quests will refresh, and a daily recipe bottle will respawn. It's, basically anything that would require waiting in Animal Crossing New Horizons doesn't require it anymore. And if you're impatient like me and the rest of the world, you probably have time traveled, especially in New Horizons. And it's because there isn't really any sort of punishment for it. And I think it's honestly fine. If you don't want to wait, if you don't want it to be a completely cozy game and you kind of want to try and unlock all the content, I think that's fair. But Nintendo might be thinking differently, and I've been worried about time travel ever since the Mario Kart World update. So if you guys don't know, Mario Kart World recently, or actually quite a while ago, got updated to 1.1.2, which changed the way we played the game drastically. Basically, instead of doing 3 lap tracks, we can now only do intermission tracks into a normal track, which is a drastically different kind of way to play the game and basically not the way we all really wanted to play. We were actually getting around this by choosing random that will give us a 3 lap track in public online lobby. But that has gotten removed because they don't want us to do the 3 lap tracks and they want us to do intermission tracks. If you guys want to see an in-depth video, this video specifically, it'll be in the top right corner info card right there. I just basically discuss everything that went on in this update and why it's making people mad. But that got me thinking, Nintendo was kind of making us play the game they want to, especially in an online sense. What's stopping them from doing that with Animal Crossing 2026? And there literally isn't anything. They already did something similar when it came to New Horizons. This article is from Nintendo Life recapping it all, where they locked events if you were not caught time traveling, but if you were actually time traveling. They were able to do this via the content update drop system that they have been doing. Nintendo Life says, while this style of play is still a thing, it appears the latest winter update for the game has made some minor adjustments to time travel. Players who skip forward will no longer be able to activate certain events in the future, such as Turkey Day and Toy Day, if they haven't already played out yet in real life. They can, however, travel back to the events that have already occurred. As you might have guessed, there has been some mixed reactions to Discovery, with some claiming they don't always have time to play the game at a specific date. This is a little confusing, but basically, you have to be there when the event villager is there to start the event, if I remember correctly. And if you were to travel into a space and time where they would still be there if you started the event, but not there if you didn't start the event, they wouldn't be there. Effectively kind of stopping time travelers, but not really, because you could just find the day and then start it there. But this kind of started the idea about Nintendo maybe stopping time traveling. And even in the code for New Horizons, there is a flag, or basically something that gets put onto your game file that lets the game know that you were time traveling. This comes from the GitHub.io that we were looking at previously. It says, do the developers know that I've time travel? It says, there is actually a variable turned up by data mining called isTimeSly that determines whether or not the player has time traveled. With that being said, there's no indication whatsoever that developers care, as there's no permanent in-game consequences or punishment for time traveling. Ultimately, it's your game and you should play it however you want to. And that is, my thoughts as well. but it is there. And the way to get this kind of variable actually isn't really tied to time traveling, because the only way the game can know that you're time traveling is if you time travel backwards, because the game already read your save file as a certain time and year, and then you time travel backwards. Then that's how the game knows that you modified your time and date. If you were time traveling forward in 1 day increments, the game would have no idea that you were time traveling, because that's how games naturally progress. Also, if you were able to do that in like weeks to year increments, still the same thing would happen, because that's how the world naturally progresses. And the Switch doesn't really know any differently. The only way that they would know is either you time travel backward or you connect to the internet to sync your time with the world. And I have a feeling Nintendo might be doing this. Before I get into that, I actually wanted to touch on the community. I also will be posting a community poll alongside this video asking if you guys really kind of like time traveling. This is from the Bell Forums, a Animal Crossing focused, forum that, they do a lot of general Animal Crossing discussion. And this post says, should time travel be removed completely? And 73.7% of the votes said not at all, which is great. I think we're all in agreement that time traveling is just a way that you could play the game. You bought the game, now you get to play it your way. But then again, going back to basically what Nintendo did with Mario Kart World, Nintendo doesn't really care how you want to play. They want you to play the game how they intended it. And if they did this for Mario Kart World, what's stopping them from doing it with Animal Crossing 2026? And going into the ways that they could do this in basically one of two ways. Connecting to the internet every single time you log into Animal Crossing is a way they could do this, because you have to at least verify the time on your Switch to the real world time, or have the real world time send it over to your Switch. Do I think this is the way they're going to do it? Probably not, because it's going to severely limit when and where that you can play the game. Animal Crossing, I feel like, is a game that you could play offline, especially a lot, especially with the Switch where you're doing a lot of traveling. So having it being limited to an online only game would not go well with the fans and drastically limit probably the amount of people who would play and buy the game. The second way, which I think is a lot more feasible, is content drops. So basically what they were doing for New Horizons, but more frequently now that they're able to plan for it. I think the problem when it came to New Horizons and its content is that they didn't expect everyone to go through it so quickly. Because that we were trapped inside during, COVID, when we got the content drops, we were already starved for content. And then the minute we got it, we were still in that time of quarantine, and we right through all that content. So I think if they were able to withhold content until they want us to play it for the first year or two, then they'll be able to control time travelers while also still being able to have them. So imagine like the game comes out in summer, right? Then we get, the summer event, but we don't get any sort of, holiday event, Turkey Day or Toy Day. Both of those wouldn't be in the game because, no one feasibly could get to that point in the real world. And I could see them doing this in like maybe 2-month increments. So like, let's just say the game comes out in June. The game would also have the content for June, July, and August. And then once, middle of August or toward the end of August, then they would release the content for September, October, November, and then so on and so forth until they have all the content that they wanted to, have in the game. I personally don't like this as well. I think I'm of the mentality that the game should be in a semi-complete state when we get the game. I think we all agreed that like New Horizons was missing a lot of things. The roost, swimming was a lot of things that was in New Leaf that I feel like should have been in New Horizons. And I hope, and there's going to be another video on this, that they're using basically New Horizons as the baseline for the next game so that they don't have to develop all those features over again and possibly like miss out on them, if that makes sense. Personally, myself, I wasn't really a big fan of time traveling at first, but then as I started getting out of the rhythm of the game, started missing days, I kind of like time traveling because it kind of eased the pressure off of playing every single day. And I think it would be good for, Nintendo to actually encourage that, because I don't want to stop playing Animal Crossing. I want to keep playing it without feeling guilty. One other thing my brother actually mentioned during our discussion session is that Animal Crossing could have an in-game way to time travel, similar to how Stardew Valley works, or maybe something similar. I would have to tend to disagree with that, just because I think time, or just, time as an aspect in Animal Crossing is so integral to, to it. I would be surprised if they, got rid of it. Waiting for stuff to get built, waiting for villagers to move in is such a integral part of the Animal Crossing experience. I'd be surprised if they got rid of it. And that's why I think that time travel will be somewhat controlled by Nintendo, because it's the way that they want us to play. But let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Are you a fan of time traveling? Do you think we should limit it or get rid of it all together? I'm Crafty Type 1. Subscribe if you haven't, because I've been doing daily Animal Crossing and Nintendo content. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.